Welcome to True Parent for Life. I'm your host, Christina Vera.
And I'm your co-host, Maylin Sambois.
Welcome back to another episode.
Welcome back.
Yes, welcome back.
I can't stand you.
It's just, it's so funny. So I knew something was up and I just couldn't put my finger on it. And I just assumed, because you're a new mother.
Yes.
And so I was like,
And I'm single.
Are you single though? Because I don't think.
Anyways,
you should have never brought that up on this microphone.
Continue working.
See, you messed up.
Just continue. Don't do that.
We'll come back to that.
We're going to cut certain things.
So I have known Maylin now for at least 17 years.
Yes.
Something like
what a
that.
blessing.
What a blessing. And our lives have been one
like an adventure.
That is the perfect word. We have been on an adventure for almost 17 years. So many amazing things, so many hard things. Not a lot of hard things, but we've had some hard things.
Yes.
Some hard things.
The good outweighs the bad.
Yeah, I would say that is so true. The good definitely outweighs the bad. Mm-hmm. I say all this to say, I know Maylin pretty well. I would have to say I've spent more time, I think, with Maylin than most of my family members.
So have I. With you.
Yeah,
with me.
Yeah. So it's always so like, I always know when I don't know how to explain it. It's just like a feeling.
An internal knowing.
It's an internal, almost like, for like mothers, for example, how you just get a feeling like, something's up with one of your children, or you can't sleep well a particular night. And so, Maylin has been moving and operating in a very different way in about at least for the past year. And I just was like,
since I gave her birth.
Yeah. Well, but the thing about the birth thing, I knew it was going to take some time to get adjusted to just being a mother.
Still.
Yeah. That still is a whole nother journey. And so I think, but you've done a great job. Having a baby, adjusting to motherhood, working multiple jobs. You work all the time. You run 2 companies. I mean, it's a lot. And I think and I was reading an article not too long ago, and they were saying that women actually postpartum, your body actually doesn't go back to your normal hormone balance. I think they said it can take anywhere from a year to a year and a half, 2 years sometimes, for your body just to kind of get back to whatever normalcy, your normal hormonal balance. Mm-hmm. And I just reflected, and I'm like, well, damn, I just think about the 3 kids I had at just different stages of my life, financial stages, career stages. And so just thinking about that, I was like, those are things that you don't, you go to the doctors, you have the baby, you go to the couple checkups, and then all the checkups after that are the checkups for the kids.
That's right.
You only have one doctor's appointment for you.
Mm-hmm. And
then that's it. And they never said anything to me about anything to look for. So I learned more about that stuff after you had Gyra than I had ever even learned with the 3 kids I had.
That's how bad our medical system is for women.
Yeah. There's
color.
It's just, there's no
there's no guidance.
No guidance about any of that stuff. And I just was like, well, damn. So, yeah. So I think, but you have done a great job. And, so in saying that, we've had some changes with just our schedules and routines. And so
still getting back to that.
We're
creating a new one. Forget the back one. There's no going back. There's just a new one.
Back to that. This is just our lives.
Yeah.
And it's great.
There's only a new one coming on.
And and I think this is what we always wanted. It was crazy because when Maylin and I started to build, what we didn't know then was going to be Femergy and these other subsidiaries under Femergy. We always said we wanted a company and an organization that women didn't feel like they had to choose between being a working woman and being a mother, if that's what they chose to do.
Yeah.
And being able to create an atmosphere where it's if you needed to bring your child to work, or if you needed to work from home or remotely, just being able to have that flexibility. And eventually when we get the facility that we ultimately envision, we want to be able to have even some dedicated space that we could have childcare in the building.
Absolutely.
Because I think that's critically important for, mothers to be able, or even fathers. Like if
both.
we have a dad that works, with us at one point, if he needs to bring his child to work, bring your child to work.
Yes.
I think that if more employers would become sensitive to that, especially how expensive childcare is now.
Insane.
Like when we were looking for places for Jaira, it's like wild.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I think it was so hard. They make a decision to, thank God my mom is an amazing support. But being like, not having the support of his dad, I think it has, which is, as we call it, the donor, I think it has been great to have my mother, right? Because it's the truth. I had a great donor, guys. And Jaira hasn't been lacking, thank God, anything, any resources, love, support, nothing. And not just because of me, and God, but really because of our families, our friends.
Your parent, your mom and your stepdad.
Yes, like they adore him.
That's their baby.
Yeah, absolutely. We have arguments about what we should do with our baby.
Right.
I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm not, you have to choose your battles. But, Jaira spends time in DR and time here. Yeah. And, he's growing up in my homeland, right, Dominican Republic. And he spends a month there. He loves it there. And then he comes here and spends a month here. And I think for the first year, I was blessed enough that I had my aunt that will come for 3 months at a time, and her and my mom will like tag team to make sure like I could have Jaira with me that first year. That was so important.
Yeah.
And then the second year, when we were about to look for, I thought was going to be care here. Somebody coming to my house was not an option because I tried it. That didn't work out. Going to places, even when we thought we had a good place, I just had to bring my mom for her to disapprove. And that was, again, you have to choose your battles. But I feel like he's really happy. I feel like the second year for him being back and forth is being great, but it's not going to be something sustainable.
Yeah.
So like now I'm in the place where I have to make the decision, right, of having him with me. And then being able to bring him to work or having him in my meetings. Like, this is what it is. Like, this is what a working mom is. Because in my other, work, I'm having meetings and I see babies in the screen. You don't see nobody. Like maybe before people front up on that, now you can't.
Yeah.
Because it's just part of life, know? And then you hear them cry and people go on mute and that is the life. And I was worried about doing that because, like you're running so many things, we're doing so much. But it's like, no. Like I pray for this for so long.
Yeah.
This is what I have. So I have taken my mom's support and I have embraced her support. But at one point, I have to be Jaira's mother, and I want to have him with me. And
you are Jaira's mother.
I am. Well, we share the
you
custody
are Jaira's
there.
mother.
Yes, my mom don't believe that. But it will be time for me to take full responsibility of him, and I don't want to put him in a daycare. To be honest, I don't. Not because I'm afraid of the care of it, but it's just I don't feel comfortable with that. So like being with me and doing activities with him where he can get that social emotional support. So that's something that I've been exploring, and preparing for hopefully, because he's going to turn 2 in January. So when he turns 2, and now I have to pay a ticket for him to go somewhere. Oh, yeah. Now we have to think about the other alternative. That's true. Because the cost is going to be double.
Yeah.
So if I'm able to find someone or something that I would feel comfortable with for him to spend a couple hours a day just to feel like get that social emotional intelligence, support with other kiddos, I would like to do that. But I don't want to have him in a place all day.
Yeah.
Because then it's like I had a kid to have him, and I don't say that to anybody. So listen, that's your life. Like I respect it. But for me, I just won't feel good having him in a place for like 10 hours and 12 hours, knowing that I decided to bring him here, So that's the part that I'm preparing for. I mean, we have a playpen here in our office because, that was the plan that he was going to be in the office with us. So as he comes now, and I have this week of him, I'm going to test it out just to see what it's like to have him here.
Now.
And now we
gotta get some gates or something.
I have gates. I have like 300 in my house. So bringing one for that door because I'm
going to measure this one too.
Yes. We can close that door.
Yeah, we can close these doors too.
Yeah, but that one because of the stairs. But anyways, like my house has stairs too. So I have a couple gates. I have to see them to see what kind they are. But just to protect, right? Because when you have a kid, like they do so many things. And I have a video of him now going from like a chair to a chair to a chair to get to a chair. Fascinating.
Wow.
Fascinating. He's afraid to kind of stand on his own still, but I saw his little mind and he's like...
connected.
Yeah, he's so smart. He just literally went around a whole thing in the kitchen to get to a chair, to then push the chair. I said, oh, he's going to be walking soon.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be running soon.
Yeah.
So I have to be prepared. I think he will. Once he gets here, he will.
He will.
So, yeah. So we're just, I'm as a mom, just preparing for that space, and just being more intentional about how I get to bring him, in this new era of 2024. So we'll see.
Yeah.
So get ready, Tia, Christina. Your house needs to be. I need to get you some gates.
Yes, I'm gonna need some gates.
Because I gotta leave him right there. I have a training in September. I don't know what you're gonna do those 2 days.
Yeah,
but
bring him. I got old kids now.
Yes, I have a training coming. I was like, mommy leaves. Like, Christina.
Yeah, bring him to me.
Yes.
Let me know. No, because I think it's important. I mean, I think we've talked about in different episodes, like just the real need for the village. And I think the village looks very different now. And I think the village is what you make it. And I don't think we can, label or, set any kind of expectation on people. Because I think sometimes I've heard this from, and I used to feel this way, like with some of my kids, it's like wishing or being like, oh, why doesn't my mom or so-and-so help me more? And it's like, listen, if that ain't the setup you have, that's not the setup you have. And unfortunately, there's nothing you can do about that. We can sit around and be salty about the fact that we don't have the grandparents that,
back in the day.
we don't have we are not the generation that got the great grandparents that wanted all the kids, that was going to cook, that was going to help. That's just unfortunately. And if you are blessed to have that, that's a blessing. Value that, nurture that. But the times have changed. And so I think you have to create a village. Find somebody that you maybe that you can partner with and say, listen, we both got kids around the same age. Like, I watch your kid one weekend, you watch my kid one weekend. Like, create the support systems that you need. And if that's not possible for you, which I think it is possible, but there's moms groups, there's different. You have the power of social media. A lot of people didn't have that. Like, there was none of that was really a thing until like the past decade or so, where you can find different people to be able to create community with. And I think oftentimes the hardest thing for especially new moms is feeling like you don't have a community. And it's like, yeah, but it may not be your immediate family if that's not the case, but you can find other ways to create a community.
You can. And it's just, I think, being intentional about what you want that community to look like, because it looks different for everybody. For me, I've been blessed. My mom has been really great. And if I need something, like I know I have my close friends, like I know mommy's always, your mommy's like, I'm ready. I'm like, thank you so much. So there's like different people, that are willing to help and that I can trust, which is fun. I think with your children, and now that I have mine, I understand them more than ever. Like, I don't trust everybody with my child.
Yeah.
Not everybody could just willy-nilly take care of my kid because I don't feel comfortable, because it's such a precious, I think, thing that you have. And even though something happens to you, God forbid, like, you have no control, but until he's able to defend himself and be able to, like, send for himself, like, I think you're always going to have that protective factor to make sure that he's okay. So my group of, caring for Jared is very small.
Right.
Because, he doesn't know everybody that I know, and that's intentional. I think he knows who he needs to know and who's important in my life, and that's great. And he's such a good kid too. So as we comes and we figure it out, because we're gonna figure it out, like everybody does. I just think it's gonna be a fun adventure. Because I can see his attitude already be like, we're not doing that. We're staying in this house one more week. Where is the sun? Because he goes out all the time over there. And I like being in the house sometimes. So we're going to have a little bit of an adventure getting adjusted, right? And how even being a mom is so different than how our parents were. Like, for me, my mom was amazing, but she was very stern in certain things. And, and for our culture, a pela and a chancla, like, those are, the communications that we have. But now being that, I have had all this training that I continue to revise about having communication. So you watch parents have communication. Like, you talk to your children. I'm like, oh, you talk to your children. That's great, It's something that in our culture, it's not so well, used, let's say. There's the chancla and the belt. And I don't want to raise Jaira like that. Like, I still want to be disciplined. I still want him to have common sense and respect. But I don't want to use those tactics that were used on us. Even though I turned out amazing, there's some trauma in there. So I don't want to do that to him, And it's a hard balance sometimes because, kids have their own attitudes and the things. And finding and refining that balance for me is going to be a very incredible adventure. because I'm always worried about that still.
I know. And each kid is different.
Yes, I only have one to worry about right now.
For now.
I have one.
For now. But each one is different. And parenting is so like, how our parents raised us.
Yes.
And how this, my mom actually did a whole YouTube video with her friends about gentle parenting, which I thought was a little disrespectful personally, because she talked a lot about me. And she never said my name, but I knew she was referring to me.
What do you mean?
Because she kept using examples of my children, and I knew it was about me. And so she would give like stories as examples, and I was like, okay, that's my son, and that's my other child. And so I called her up, and I was like, Mom, because she's like, did you watch my video? And I was like, yeah, I did. I thought it was great. And I was like, I didn't realize I was the topic of your video. And she was like, I mean, it wasn't just you. Like your other is, because she did use some examples of my other sister. And I was like, so you really think I'm a gentle parent? She's like, well, I mean, you guys are just so like, you give your kids, just gives you more options, you have more conversations. And I'm like, it's just a difference. It's just a difference in how, but even how their parents were with them, it was even like vastly different. So even though it wasn't like a picture perfect scenario with how we were raised, it was better than how she was raised.
Thank God.
Yeah. So it's like, my mom's upbringing was super chaotic and very hostile and just violent, even to a degree. So I was like, it has progressively gotten better. And so I think for her and her friends, they were just reflecting on how different it was for them and how they raised us. And, and it works. It works for me. There are some things that I wish I had done differently. But ultimately, like, at least the kids, I feel gratitude that my kids are not walking around on eggshells.
Yes, absolutely.
Now they're prancing around a little too much.
Sometimes they're just flying out.
They're just like, dude. I walk in the house, I'm like, wow. So we just nobody was productive today. So
and you're not even afraid.
And they're not afraid about it. They're just like, so what's
I was napping.
Yeah. So that to me, I was like, I was a little too accommodating. So that's what I wish I would have done a little differently. I needed to have had, like there was.
Balance.
I needed to have a balance. So I think you will be the perfect.
We'll see.
Because what I love about you is that you accept the new age, but you still have a lot of the old school values. You're like, how much? No, we're not going to do that. We're going to do that.
I'm cutting your internet off. You gotta have no internet or AC.
Right. Yeah, because you don't even believe in certain other. So the thing is I feel like Jaira is going to get such a balance.
I pray for him.
I feel like you're going to get it right. You're going to get it 100%.
I don't know about 100, but
I believe it.
But I'm going to try.
I believe it.
I already see him in his attitude. I say, ay, my abuela, huh? She has done some work with you. I'm going to have to do some unlearning. Yeah. Some unlearning about this with him. That little screaming you did there, I don't know what that was. Uh-oh. No, but I think, because I watch you be, and I think that's for me has been an example. Like, okay, so you can give your kids option, I believe in providing consequences, right? So like, here's the option, and then this is what happens if this happens, what happens if this happens. And I didn't get that growing up. It was no options. It was no consequences. It was like, whatever it was. So I did had a very different upbringing, but I saw that force really didn't create better. Yeah. It didn't. If anything, I think sometimes it drove kids to like a more violent trauma way than it did, So I don't know. So for me, I pray a lot. I'm like, Lord, I want to be a good mom because I know what's inside of me. Like I know how I was raised, and I know how, even though I get all these trainings, which are great, there's still a Dominican part of me, that of how I was raised that tells me that the hard way, it's a good way because it produced me, and it doesn't, and maybe back then it worked, but it doesn't mean it's going to work now. Yeah. So I just have to constantly remember that, Jaira is a whole different being, and I want to do my best to show him discipline, but without the trauma. Yeah. Like that's what I don't want him to be afraid. Like when my dad said to me as a joke, but guys, it's true. So when I was maybe 6 months or a few weeks, I don't know, he used a cloth diaper. That's what they use in Dominican. They didn't have Pampers, or they didn't have money for Pampers. So a cloth diaper to hit me gently so I could stop screaming at night or crying at night. So in their mind, that worked. I stopped crying. It was all I needed to stop crying. But then I was doing some research for when Jaira was going to be born. And it said that the children don't stop crying because, they learned the lesson based on the whipping or whatever you did. They stop crying because they know, one, if you just let them cry, then no matter how much they cry, nobody's coming to the rescue. So they stop crying. And if you hit them, then they don't want to get the pain of you hitting them. So they just suppress the cries and what they're feeling and no longer cry. So I remember telling my dad, because he was so proud of saying often that he hit me with the thing. And I said, well, I didn't stop crying because it worked. I stopped crying because you traumatized me. And he was like, he just looked at me like, I know you did not say that to me, but that is the truth. And he's like, well, I'm just saying if you want to sleep at night, you should, hit him with a little. I said, I'm not going to do that, with all due respect, okay? Oh, he was like, well, all the professionals. I said, I don't know what professional. Like they have like this help you to sleep specialist or something that tell you to let your child cry. I said, I don't know what specialist you're talking about, because my sister tried to bring him up too. And I said, I don't know how those people work, or maybe they work for this family that needed them, but I don't need them in my house telling me that I should let my child cry.
Right.
So I don't do that. And my dad was just fond this. He would say it every so often, like, well, I know, but you're not going to sleep. I said, it's okay. I'll handle it. But it was so out of mind for him that I'm not, want to sleep at night, and that I want to have. But Jaira sleeps now, but he had a couple nights that he was crying like all babies do.
Yeah.
But for our culture, the right thing to do is to hit them with the
it don't make no
cloth
sense.
pamper, and be like. I remember the first time I heard his story, I felt pain, guys. I swear to God, like I felt pain. I said, oh my God.
And the fact that they're not embarrassed. It's like, sir, it's 2024. Do you not realize that was not normal and that was considered child abuse? Like, I need you to, like, certain things should just go to the grave. Like, you don't even ever need to repeat that. Like, I personally would have been like, what makes you think you should share that with people?
In his mind, he did. He
was proud of that.
He's so proud. Like when he told me he was proud, and I was like, you're telling me as a baby.
He's not babysitting.
Okay,
he's on the do not babysitting.
You are that. You come and pick him up when I'm in front of you.
Right, like he can't babysit. That's it. If he still thinks that that's a good tactic, I'm sorry.
Leaving him cry so he could learn. I said. And I remember one of my friends was like, she's really good. She's like, people used to say that to me. And I'll tell you right now, don't let your child cry.
No.
Like, don't do that. And I was like, all right. And she has a great relationship with her kids, with her daughter. And I was like, yeah, no, I didn't plan on. Like, and then I think as a mom too, there's certain things that you will listen to people. And I listen to all the advice, guys. Like, I'm not disrespectful. I'm learning. I'm a new mom. No matter how much books I read, I mean, nothing. Okay, nothing. I have friends that are great moms. So I've been blessed with that. But I always listen to the advice. And then I take what I think works for me.
Yes.
That's it. Like, okay, I like this. I can apply that. Oh, I'm not going to do that. But thank you for the advice. And I think as new moms, some people are like, well, don't tell me nothing. I got it. I don't have it. I have so much to learn. And this is such a new experience for me. But I will not apply everything that I hear. And I don't have to. No. Because Jaira's a very different child. And those techniques may not work in my style. No. So now I'm learning to like, okay, what works? Okay, what doesn't work? And seek advice when I need it, Yeah. But I do take, sometimes I look at Christina, I'm like, okay, well, he's not doing this.
Yeah, whooping him with a cloth diaper is never the answer.
It's never.
It's never going to be an answer. Ever.
Oh my God.
I'm like, oh, puppy, thank you so much.
And he was upset. He's like, well, I'm like, no, I know what you're saying.
No, we get it.
And I thank you for all that you have. I mean, you have been great. That is one thing that unfortunately I won't practice.
That's not going to make it to the next round.
No.
Our fathers, boy, bless them. We're grateful because that's how we got here.
Yes, yes. And he had, some of the good things that we have as well. I mean, it really comes from our parents both, right? Like they were not perfect, but there's some genes and some things that we have thanks to them. So I thank them for that. The hustle, the things, all of that.
Yeah.
But like when Jaira had his, Jaira was born with 6 fingers. Right? So he has 6 fingers in each hand like I did when I was born.
That was the craziest thing. Okay, so really quick. So I was there when Maylin's baby was born, and they, the doula. So she was texting me so I could tell Maylin's mom how she was doing. So they were like, the baby's here. He's good. Everything's great. And then she texts us back. She's like, okay, he has 6 fingers. And she sends me a photo. I was like, has to be a typo. Like, because you know how you said 5 fingers, 5 toes, right? Like that's always the sequence. And so she was like, so she sends me a picture and he literally has 6 fingers.
He did.
And so I look at your mother and I was like, he has 6 fingers. And she's like, no, Maylin has 6 fingers too. I said, what? She was like, no, Maylin, she had that too. I was like, what? I seen the picture of his 6 finger. I was shocked. You never told me you had 6 fingers.
It doesn't come in conversation, guys, right? Like, oh, I have 6 fingers. What does that come in for conversation? And they were removed when I was little.
And how is it that your son was born with the same thing you had?
It's the gene. The mothers carry it. So mom is the carrier of the gene. Like my brother has not had any child, but he had 6 fingers too. So both of us were born. And some people had it more like, the finger is born right on your pinky, actually, right adjacent to it. And for me, I still have the little bowl or whatever that was there. So when they took it off for me, they took it out with a little, what is that called, thread? So they took a thread, I guess, back in the day, barbaric. And they took it when I was little. So they put it and, took the blood, so the blood will come off of it. They tied it real tight. And I think the blood came off of it. And then,
boy, you went through one hell of a baby. Like, the diaper, the string. God really had a vision for your life.
He did. There's so much more that happened.
Jesus.
That was definitely, again, my dad, right? So here comes my dad with one more story about the fingers, right? So when he sees Jaira, because Jaira's fingers actually had little nails. His were like a little big, and they had a little bit of bone. So his were, I don't know if they were more defined than me. I never saw mine, but I remember talking to the doctors early on and figuring it out that we could do surgery. And the reason why surgery was better than back in the day thread they used to use is because for me, they never cut down my nerves. So if I get hurt here, I feel the pain because it was still a nerve in there. Where with Jaira, they could kill the nerve by doing the surgery piece and just removing them. So I opted for the surgery. My dad thought that was not a good idea. He said, you should just do the little thread. The surgery is not necessary. I said, no, thank you so much for that great advice. I'm going to go to Children's and get this done, And it was. And Jaira, it's fine. His fingers have healed. And he now, if God forbid was to get hurt there, he wouldn't feel pain. Like I feel pain sometimes, even when something happens in there. So just to say, like back in the day, things were done differently.
Yeah.
Very differently. They had the barbaric, okay, I call it, way, where now this is too good. Like this is too easy for that generation to understand and even start passing their mind.
Yeah.
Because they're like, why did you need to do so? Why did you need anesthesia for? Like, just go to the little thread. I said, his finger is almost like a finger. Like, it's really that big.
Yeah, it was pretty big. I had never seen that before.
Yes, my uncle, my mom's brother had it. And I think he kept his also. He kept his. Most of us got ours removed when we were babies. And I removed Jaira's because there was no point to keep it.
No.
It was no need for
grateful.
him. Yeah, he didn't need to have like a 6 finger, child in school or anything. So, yes. But that's why it never comes in conversation. What would I say? Hey, I had 6 fingers when I was born.
When your mom looked at me with such a normal face, she's like, oh, see, Maylin had one. I said, what? Maylin, she had the same thing. I said, oh, that you think you know a person.
Guys, well, it was the same thing. So inside the delivery room, I see that they took Jaira, right? Because I had a C-section, right? So I was terrified with C-section, but thank God, it was amazing.
And you did so good. Like, I literally don't know what I expected. Like, because I've been in hospitals with my sisters, and they've all looked hot. They've had such not horrible. Well, no, Nikki had a horrible
that first one
delivery, her first one, and then just like. So when I was like mentally, I was like, this is her first child. Like, there's so many things. I should have known though. She came out just like a model, like just completely like, hey guys, like calm, went right in.
Anesthesia made me puke, I think.
Yeah, she got sick later, but literally you went in.
15 minutes.
15 minutes. He was out. She was texting us. You came in. You were calm. It was literally the smoothest delivery possible. Like,
prayers.
And for it to be your first shebang, like it was
painless.
Painless. You were completely like, it was fine, guys. I'm good. Like completely good. I was like, okay, we did this.
I was very blessed.
Yeah, you literally had such a good delivery.
I did.
Such a good delivery.
I just felt him pulling him out. And I mean, the doula was next to me. I mean, I was really blessed. And I think I wish and pray that people, women, will have that support.
Yeah.
Because I had you and my mom, so I knew mommy was going to be fine.
Yeah.
I knew that anything went down. I had like the people that loved me the most were there to make decisions. So that I was a piece.
Yeah.
You know, I was smart, I feel, and had the resources and the ways to get a doula who will be there with me to advocate in case I needed it.
Yeah.
Because you just never know. I don't know. It's my first. I didn't know what to ask for. But this doula, just like, and actually my doctor. So I took people in to almost every, like you came with me, Andrea, my doula, my mom. You guys came to some of my doctor's appointments. So the doctor already knew you guys. So I knew that if anything, and I think unintentionally, but intentionally, I wanted him to see my people because if something was to happen, then you guys were there. That comfort was there and it would be like awkward. And you never know, right? Because I don't know that people know that every time a woman goes into labor, like her life is in danger. And many women don't come out of that. You know, it's not like a guarantee that you would. And I knew that. So I was like, you know, whatever happens, I'm ready. But when Jaira was taken from me and was put into a light because, you know, he came out through the cesarean, they were like, I could hear them, 12. And I was like, what is 12? 12 minutes? Like, what is it, right? I didn't understand what the 12 meant. And then they're like, 12 fingers. There's 12 fingers. I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, yes, he has 6 fingers. I was like, oh, yes, okay, that's in my family. Bring me my child. Just bring me my child. So they bring me the baby, and he was crying. And the moment they would put him in my chest, he just looked at me, and he was quiet. So they were freaking out because it's like, is he okay? Because no babies stop crying this fast. But Jaira, like, knew me. And, you know, he had his 6 fingers, and the doctors were like, because the doctor was like, did you never say that to me? Again, when does that come in conversation?
I think you could have gave us all a warning that you were like a mermaid when you were born.
I mean, I wasn't married. That's what they call me. But I forgot. Like, I really forgot.
How did you forget you were born with 6 fingers?
Because I don't have them. You know?
It just would have been a good heads up, like, hey, I had this. It's possible my child might have it too. Because we were all shocked. Because
no Gotti's ever had it. So after 8 children or 5, whatever the how many he has of his own, it never came up again.
I know.
So I was shocked.
But mommy was so calm about it.
Yeah,
like
so
your
was
mom,
I.
when I showed her, I was like I was panicking. I was like, wait, what? And I was like, and she's like, oh no. It's like it was like you. She was like,
she has it.
Maylin,
she has it.
Maylin had that. It's fine. I said, okay.
We both were taking our fingers with the thread.
We'll figure it out
mommy
later.
Mommy has the same bump I have.
Love it. You guys are just, y'all just are unique. I'd love it.
So if everybody listening, if you were born with 6 fingers, tell your friends.
Write it in the comments. I would put 6 in the comments. Just put 6 and we'll know what it means.
I don't even have pictures of my 6. I have pictures of Jaira's.
Yeah.
But I don't have pictures of mine with my 6. So
you could have just gave me a heads up.
I swear if I
was like, okay, she's going to
important.
wake up and they're going to tell her she has 6 and she's going to freak out. And then, and I was like, it's going to be fine. They'll figure. Like in my mind, I quickly went to like, okay, he's going to have surgery, but it's okay. When she wakes up, we'll explain it to her. And then your mom was like, oh no, she had that. Like, it's fine. I was like, okay, so I'm panicked. Got it.
Yes, because the doctors were panicked. I was fine. I was like, yes, I know. It's my family. Bring me the baby.
I literally was like, she's unconscious or she's really groggy. She doesn't know what's happening. She's probably like, what? 6? No way.
I was not groggy.
I know. You came out of there completely. I was groggy and I didn't have anything done because you came in and you were so like.
Yes, that's my favorite like birth song. Like, it was great.
I know. You had such a beautiful birth. I just was like, wow.
And that's the part of intentionality.
I know, because you did all those sessions.
Yes.
And you had all the, you had the
polarity work.
You did a lot during that.
Yes, and I had to. I didn't want to bring Jaira to a traumatic world.
Yeah.
In a traumatic way.
The world is.
Yeah.
But your world, you created a very nice aura for him.
I even got a sofa. Yeah. Which I never had a sofa.
I know, you didn't have a sofa for the longest.
Yes, I had a nice sofa because as he comes, so we could watch TV. But I'm so grateful that I was, and I had the way and the people to create a space because we were not, our mothers didn't have this. If anything, our mothers brought us not just to a traumatic world, but in such a traumatic way.
Yeah.
That some of that trauma is within us. And we have had to work so hard to get that out of us, right? So I feel like I didn't want that for Jaira. I wanted him to have to do the less amount of work to have to deal with trauma. I know he's going to experience drama. I'm not oblivious, guys. I know he's going to experience the hard things, but I didn't want his welcome to the world to be like that.
No, and he's a great baby. He's happy. He's loved. He's well traveled. This guy has tons of passport stamps. I mean, he's living a great life. I see him on FaceTime. He's laying in the middle of the bed with his wife beater on, hands behind his head, like.
And he's big and his legs crossed.
Yeah, he's like, what do you guys want? I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Like, he's
not pressed.
He's not pressed. He wants for nothing. God is so good. I mean, he's just such a cute, handsome, a happy kid. Just a happy guy. Happy guy. So, yeah.
I can't wait for him to come.
Yeah, me too. So, well, I was going to talk about your thing, but we're going to wrap it up for today. That's another time. This episode started very differently, but we'll talk about that in a future episode.
It was God's plan.
Yeah, it was God's plan. So, well, thank you for listening.
Yes.
And we'll catch you all next time. And as we like to say here at True Print for Life,
it's
bigger than you.
Thank you so much for listening today. We're excited and we hope that you follow us on
Instagram, True Print for Life, YouTube channel, also True Print for Life. And make sure that you share, like, watch our videos. Make sure that you follow us on all streaming platforms.